Dead Candy. Dedicated entertainment for the dead.
Spoiler alert, Slash's Paradise encourages viewers to watch these horror films before listening to our show. Danny and Lance will go through everything, including filmmaking, dialogue, characters, and even full scene breakdowns when we get excited. Enjoy the show.
Hello, you've reached Whoretown Video. After hours. For store hours, please press 1. For the horror movie recommendation of the week, please press 2. For the slash word of the night, please press 3. For all other recommend... You've selected the slash word of the night. Tonight's slash word is... seance.
Danny, are you on? I don't see video. Are you?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
You can't see me?
No, I can't. Well,
what do you see?
I can see a photo of you, a very handsome photo of you. But
nice.
It looks.
Oh, my camera's off. Hey.
Oh, there he is. Hey. Oh shit. I can't hear you. Let me test something here. Let me see.
How about now? But now I can't hear you, man. I think what my problem is that I had mine on mute. You're the tech guy. Have you tried restarting your computer? Am I on mute?
No,
Hey, there it is.
Right.
Okay, don't move.
Okay.
What happened?
Why don't I move?
We fixed it.
Oh, okay.
It's like when you get the antenna with the
hands up. Okay, I'm done.
Hey, man.
Hey, welcome to Slash's Paradise. That's Danny.
Up?
I'm Lance. We're having some semi-fake connectivity issues as we start season 3-ish of Slash's Paradise.
You bet your sweet ass we're having some fake issues. You want to know why? Because all our real issues were worked out beforehand, because we're coming to you all correct each and every single time, folks.
That's right. For our listeners out there, you may not know this, but we have gone remote.
Control.
False. We decided, since we live so far away from each other, that the only way to bring Slash's Paradise to the world, to the masses more often, was to go remote. So Danny is in his own paradise. I'm in my own paradise, and we have created a new Slash's Paradise for now. Never know when we might get back together and do a special episode here in my studio. But for now, this is it. This is the new way. It's a new day.
This is the way, Lance. And I'll tell you something. You have the paradise. It was born in your place, and I was always very thankful for that. What I did here was try and create my own paradise. So we have 2 islands. If I were to imagine the way these paradises were in real time, as opposed, like, compared to like geography, we would have, it'd be the big blue ocean, right? I could see you from my island, but you are still far away where I couldn't like see you. You know what I mean? So like if you were walking around your island naked, I'd be like, I think he's naked, but I at least see that he's there.
Okay. We'll go with that then. So it's the islands of the paradise.
The islands of the paradise. But as far as decor, I do want to take our if I could paint a picture for those of you that do not or are not able to see what's going on here, if you can just imagine the setup that Josh Hartnett creates in Halloween H2O for Michelle Williams, that is my fucking situation here, folks.
Yeah.
I've got the lights, and it is heavily draped in Michael Myers, as you must know. Very different variations of him, but you know what? Michael is never too far. Isn't that right, sir? Yes, I just hit a bobblehead, and he's agreeing with me.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Right? That's how I'm going to make my points.
Listen, this isn't usually the kind of movie that we would kick off with, but I've been so excited to go and dive into this movie. Like, I don't know. I'm going to explain why, but it's not like our typical kind of movie. I love found footage movies. I know Danny kind of struggle with motion sickness and all that kind of stuff. But every time that we've kind of made a list of like, okay, what movies are we going to get into? And this one always pops up. I always have wanted to do this one. And today's the day. And I'm going to explain. I've had two wonderful, terrifying experiences with, well, one's terrifying, and that was last night watching this. And then my first experience was just like the nice surprise. And that's probably why I've always kind of circled and wanted to do the movie Host. The Shudder exclusive original.
Shudder original. Yeah. Came out in 2020. What an exciting time for content being released. Holy moly. New content probably didn't have a lot of opportunities given the fact that we were in a global fucking pandemic. You could bleep that out. But when this movie, like Lance is saying, surprised him, it sure as heck surprised me too, because it is definitely a movie of the times, right? It did come out in 2020, and you could definitely, we'll talk more about it. But genuinely, when I can give a movie suggestion that somebody asks, hey, what is a movie that you would recommend right now that is just scare the pants off of you movie? I do not even miss a beat, and I recommend Host without question, even though it was a movie of like 2020, you know what I'm saying? Like, even though it's a movie that was limited by the circumstances of that year, of that time, it holds up, and it is a great new horror flick.
Yes. I totally agree with Danny. It's one of the first that I'll kind of tell somebody, like, do that. One, because it's super short, and it is a freaking roller coaster ride. It's like you're shot out of the cannon pretty much after the 15-minute mark. And the 15 minutes is just to establish the characters. But the reason we're kind of telling you this, I believe, is because it is a newer film, and a lot of people might not have seen this. So we have put the spoiler alert out, but I'm going to tell you that we both do recommend that people see this film. So before we get into everything, spoiler alert, spoilers ahead, just know that we do recommend watching it. If you haven't watched it yet, go see it before we ruin it for you. If you have seen it, let the paradise begin. We do a game here called Slash Word. We have a new format for that. You all already heard the Slash Word tonight. Danny, tell them how it works a little bit.
I would be happy to, Lance. Tell our listeners about Slash Word. Slash Word, folks, is the Slasher's Paradise version of the popular game Pathword, wherein when you hear the slash word said by either Lance or I, or any other voice that may creep into this audio video mix, you get to take a drink. Take a drink of your favorite beverage of choice. It could be alcoholic. It doesn't have to be, but we just ask folks that you have fun and play along with the Slasher's Paradise original. That is Slash Word.
I can't wait to see how this goes tonight. We also have something else that's part of the Paradise, a drink recommendation. We call it Pina Colada, and that's where Danny's going to break down the basic version of the movie. We will have the official Slasher's Paradise Pina Colada recipe very soon for everyone. So be on the lookout for that. Danny.
I'm excited. I'm excited about that, Lance. Yeah.
What is the Pina Colada for the movie Host?
Host. Pina Colada by Danny Gonzalez. Host. Movie from 2020. 6 friends hire a medium or a someone who can hear and contact the spirits, to hold a seance via Zoom. It is during the lockdown, but they get far more than they have bargained for, right? They get a little too rambunctious and don't take things seriously. And things, as they do when you don't take them seriously with the evil entities that are of this other world, things go wrong very quickly. And that is Host.
All right. A very quick breakdown. The movie was technically released on December 4th, 2020. The director was Rob Savage. He was the creator of this film. He actually pitched it to Shudder after, first fun fact of the night, he actually pranked his friends on a Zoom meeting during the pandemic. And I had all this horror stuff going on, terrified them. They had no idea that this was coming. The whole video went viral, and then he took it to Shudder and said, "Hey, let's make a feature-length film out of this." I think some of the actors were actually part of the writing team as well. It stars Haley Bishop, Gemma Moore, Emma Webb, Radina Drodova, Caroline Ward. These names might sound familiar. You know why? Because they're all playing themselves in this movie.
I was like, Lance,
yes.
Are you just saying the characters?
I am, because that's who they are. They're just playing themselves. They're not really technically actors. They're friends of Rob and did this movie. So, again, this was a Shudder exclusive, so not really a box office kind of thing, but coming out during the pandemic, there wasn't a whole lot going on during that time. Everything that was coming out had been shot previously because everything was shut down. And the movie definitely lets you know, like, we're not hiding the fact that this is the pandemic. Everything is over Zoom because everyone was on lockdown. And this is in the UK, by the way. I got to mention that. So you might hear some accents from everybody. I'm just going to get into my first experience with the movie and maybe I'll circle back around to the second one. My wife and I, lockdown pandemic, we were like, hey, let's watch a horror movie tonight. My wife doesn't do that often. She is a fan of horror films, but she's not like a super fan like I am. And so we decided to go ahead and watch a horror film. We got about an hour into another film that I won't mention the name of. And I said, I'm bored with this. I can't watch this anymore. Danny, you probably know what movie it is. So I was like, I'm out of here. Let's try Host. It's only 56 minutes long. Let's go with that. And it was just the nicest surprise ever. I had so much fun watching it. And we had all the lights off. We had the setup, not the spread that Danny has, but we just had a really good time watching it. She actually really liked it. And it became a favorite like that. Danny, what was your experience with Host?
Similarly, Lance, of course, I was in a lockdown as well, living with my fiance at the time, and we were in an apartment, and we had done this fun thing with another cool couple where we were watching movies together. So we would connect on a Zoom call, then we would both press play on a movie at the same time. So it's like, I guess there's a certain thing you can do with Apple products now, which is called like share play. So it's like it's over FaceTime or something like that. So it was really cool. And I want to say that this, I know, because we watched a bunch. We watched a bunch of movies together, and I think this was definitely one of them. But I just remember it scaring the absolute pants off of me. Here's the thing. I have a trick. As Big Bad Danny, it also does get scared, but covering my eyes in a horror movie is just nothing I ever am going to subscribe to, because that's the reason I like these God blessed things, is because of the excitement and the pure, unadulterated, that's not a word, adrenaline that just shoots through you when you watch a scary movie. So this one just gets you on the edge of your seat from the beginning. Here's my trick. What I will do, because if you're in a movie theater, right, you can't escape it. Well, in this case, I have people they're watching the movie, but our Zooms are on facing ourselves, and I'm like, all they're gonna need to see is me covering my eyes. I'm like, I can't live that down. So what I do, it's this trick. For those of you that can watch are watching on video, I do this thing where I'm looking straight at the camera, but I'll start to go,
No,
and I'll just cross my eyes a little bit, and it just distorts the image. Yes. It's so stupid. I have never admitted that ever, but I figured us coming back in the slasher's paradise once again, I would be extra revealing, not physically, just emotionally, and just let everyone know that sometimes I need to kind of put a buffer because jump scares, they make me scream, and it's okay to scream. Okay, let's just put that away. Let's put that to bed. Screaming's fine, but my screams naturally go really high pitched, and I was like, I don't need to. I can react to that. It is scary because it is. But yeah, that was my first experience, and then honestly did not get around to it for my second experience until I watched it again for the show.
Well, yeah, same. My second watch was actually last night. Funny story about looking off camera or off TV when you're watching something scary and you know something scary is about to happen. My brother taught me this little trick for the theater. I forget what we were seeing. I think it was like Halloween H2O or something, but it's that you look at the bottom of the screen instead of looking at the screen. And he told my mom this, and he's like, yeah, so I look over at Lance and he's like this the whole time.
I just really want to focus on the shoes.
I was just straight looking down at the screen the entire time. Yeah, so that's my little trick. This is the movie that you kind of do that for. I watched it last night, and again, it's okay, listen, it's got a creep factor, and it's almost its own subgenre of just pop scares. So especially at the end, I was kind of doing this thing. I'm like, okay, I'm getting uncomfortable. I have to look at the side of the screen because I know it's coming. I know it's coming. I don't want to see this. And then, I kind of glance over and see it because I got to know. But
you got to know the point of a jump scare, a good jump scare, is that it needs to take you on a journey. It really does. Right. So sometimes I think one of the best right now of our time, masters of the prolonged getting you there, eventually going to get you with a jump scare right now is, and this might just turn into, from my perspective anyway, the James Wan fanboy podcast. I knew I was going to go there, but swear to God, y'all, the first Insidious, when the tiptoe scene happens.
Oh, right.
Man, he just, and then every time that, they're taking you through where Tucker's got the camera and, the clicking, all that stuff. It's just masterful because that's the art, I believe, of a jump scare. It has to take you and take you and take you. And when you naturally are thinking, here it is, it's going to take you further and take you further. And you're like, actually, now you've given me three not false scares. That's kind of cheap. It's just prolonged to where you're like, okay, this has gone on a little too long. I don't know where the jump scare is happening now.
Yeah.
And this movie does do that.
It does that because it does it a few times. Like, oh God, oh shit. And then you're just fucking do it already. You know what I mean? They're like,
just do it. Put me out of my misery already.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a great progression. This getting down to the film, we open up with our main girl.
I'd say she's hosting the Zoom, right?
She is the host of the Zoom. Her name is Haley.
Let me just say something right off the bat, Lance. Okay, I don't want to talk about just shit. Okay?
Oh, there it is. Take a drink.
I really don't. That's another version of slash word. It's called bullshit. I don't want to talk a bunch of shit, but holy moly, man, I get it. It's real. These are people's real apartments, homes, yada, yada, yada. But like, holy moly, I am getting ultra anxiety from some of these messy ass apartments and houses. Holy shit. And I'm not talking about Haley. Like, Haley comes on and she's got stuff on her bed, but for the most part, everything's kind of put together. But there's some, it's just like, golly, like pick up a little bit. It's okay, right? But I get it as well. Is it's like it's got to be real. You're with your friends. Who the hell cares, right? Messy bed or whatever. I mean, y'all don't know that I took these quilts and I steamed them.
Ooh.
What? I gotta be real. I gotta be real, right? Yeah.
What?
But you remember when we talked about it in Krampus, the Krampus episode about like, the cleaning
Oh
and stuff?
yeah. Yeah.
It's like, if I don't know, man, maybe it's like even if I, okay, so during the shutdown, I was on Zooms all the time. I was teaching on Zooms. And it's like, if something in the background was just not clean or picked up or something like that, shoot me instead, right? A messy place is the last thing I want to show anybody. But yeah, so right off the bat, I do get anxiety from some of the messiness of some of their places. There's
kind of something to that though, because the background is, this movie gave me something that Paranormal Activity never actually gave me, which was, I'm always looking in the background, but in Paranormal Activity, there's nothing ever going on. So there's no rewatch value to it. In this movie, there are certain points where you're like, but what is that? And at one point they even call it out like, there's something behind you. And I'm like, thank you. I've been looking at that the entire time. We'll get back to that in a minute. But I think it's like Gemma is like always looking behind her. And she's like the I guess like the first friend that Haley kind of introduces and is bringing into the Zoom meeting. But she's always like looking behind her. And it looks like she's just got like junk in the back. You know what I mean? But it kind of looks like a ghostly figure or something. It's bizarre. So Haley is, first of all, just kind of setting things up. She's got her laptop. She's going through her apartment to get dressed, kind of get ready for the Zoom call. She's already put out the invites for everybody, but she's got to get dressed first. But we immediately get a little bit of the tension in the apartment. The seance has not happened yet. We haven't even set that up that's going to be a thing.
We don't even know that a seance is actually going to happen. At this point, we're just like, what the hell are we watching? It opens as just someone opening the Zoom program, which is like, I love, if you've ever seen the not even Unfriended, Searching, maybe it's Searching or Unfriended. I didn't have a problem with Unfriended, right? But I do like that. I do like that idea. Is like you were watching the program. There's like no interference. This is reality. So it's like the fact that it starts off in the Zoom interface is cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then Haley just is kind of like, okay, well, I'll wait for everybody, kind of get things going. It sets up this tension right away. And it's just such a, like, I don't mean this in a bad way, but the cliche of like going down the dark hallway of the house. And what was that? You're like, why am I scared? I don't even know what this movie is yet. Why am I already like tense? But it sets up the tension right away. And then we get a little knock knock kind of thing. And then out of the closet, it's just her stuff falling out. You know what I mean? But
you mentioned Paranormal though, right?
Right.
One of the things that I got from a rewatch of Paranormal not too long ago was I am looking for stuff, but there isn't, but like that in that, I think that's what Paranormal did so well is that like these folks are in your face, right? So you have like multiple screens. There's going to be multiple friends. So there's like, you can pay attention to one person, one of the 6 each time you watch this, right? Or, however many people end up actually on there. But here's the point is that when you're watching Paranormal, it's like, it's static. So you're just like, where is it going to come from? With this one, it does do that as well. But it's like you mentioned, I agree totally. It's a little bit more busy. And I think gives you more opportunity to do scary stuff.
Yeah. And that's what I loved about it. That's why I say it's got a 1-up on that, because Paranormal is not rewatchable to me now, because I'm like, well, I know the story. There's not much of a story to it if there's not more to watch. You know what I mean? So if you're looking in the background of this movie, which I am constantly doing on found footage films, you know what I mean? If we're going to make a found footage film, then that's what I want. I want stuff going on in the background, because I don't want the character to know what's going on, but I want to know what's going on. Be like, fucking look out behind you. It's just like a slasher flick.
Behind
you.
But
look out. Right.
Behind you. Look behind you. Swear to God. Sorry. It's my Randy impression.
Okay, Danny. Okay, so we're introducing all the friends, right? We're doing a seance. First we get Gemma, and then I think we get Caroline next.
So it's
Or no, we get Emma.
it's
Actually.
Haley, it's Gemma, it's Emma, it's Radina, and then it's Caroline.
Right, and then we get Teddy, who's like a fun kind of horror movie, kind of like almost like a Hollis. Like he's just like the fun-loving dude of the group. Hollis.
We love Hollis. This is a pro Hollis podcast. Let it be known forever.
Yes.
But can I just say, Lance, Teddy actually reminds me of me with my old high school friend group.
Okay. Oh,
I was
okay.
it was just really just me. It was really me and two other guys. And it is now just life happens, right? It's really just like the girls are always going to be very tight with each other, but I'm still, cool and close with them. And it was cool because they came to my wedding and there's a picture and it's all of us. And now that when I see this, it kind of reminds me of that. Yeah. So it's kind of cool.
So we get a little bit
of asshole like Teddy. I'll just say that.
So I think Teddy's like the only one that lives like in a house. Everyone else seems to be in an apartment. Teddy's got like almost like a farmhouse kind of a thing going on. He's got his girlfriend or something.
Well, it's the girlfriend's house. She's rich apparently, and so he's been staying with her. Yeah.
Yeah. So so we got everyone kind of set
everyone's
up.
Here. Mm-hmm.
There's not much of a backstory to too many of them. Like Radina's got her man in the apartment. Danny's not a fan of him.
Well, here's the thing: is that what I also love about the setup of most of them, because Caroline she's living with her dad, right? And he is established that he's hilarious, right? But what Radina is living with a dude that I guess they're dating, and you could hear everyone's like, "Oh, it was a mistake," you should have never done Shutdown together. Which is so, I don't know if you've heard, Lance. Personally, I heard of folks who, they got in relationships and they were, I guess, living together, and then they did the lockdown together, and for better or worse, actually, it actually told them a lot, or it revealed everything, and they weren't able to sustain or something like that.
The most dramatic version of that story that I heard was a couple went on a blind date on a cruise, and it was that cruise liner that got completely shut down for months. Yeah.
Oh, no.
They were stuck in their quarters for months together, and they literally just met. It was a blind date, and let's do something wild. Let's go on a cruise together, and we'll really learn about. Yeah, and pandemic hit, shut down, months at sea. In that tiny little, smaller than our rooms, just. Ugh.
That's what they get, because blind dates do not need to be going on a cruise together. Sorry. So sorry. No muss, no fuss. Blind date needs to be, keep it chill, keep it at a restaurant. That's what you get for trying to be outlandish. Okay.
Fair enough. All right. There's a few little things with each character that is kind of foreshadowing, especially Teddy. Teddy's only in this for maybe 10 minutes of the film, probably. We set up who he is, and then he instantly loses connection in the seance once the seance starts. But he introduces this thing for the seance, and I think we should kind of get into the seance too. Is everyone is supposed to bring something that reminds them of somebody from the past, somebody that has left this world, is dead, that they remember, that they might want to talk to. Teddy's is the most interesting that he brings because it's the most, I think, explored, and it's this music box. Danny, are you okay?
Look, Teddy gave me a lot of anxiety. Him and Gemma both, I don't understand how this friend group actually survives, because they are so self-absorbed. It gives me pain, Very
true.
The only thing that I can think about is that was Teddy's not recorded live. That's all I can think about, is that because I feel like he's not listening a lot. He kind of just, when he's talking, it's about what he wants to say at that moment, kind kind of like how I'm doing right now.
he's very distracted. Yeah, and he wants to be the star of the show. He's very loud of the group, the loud one of the group.
So I'm Teddy.
Yeah.
Great.
You are 100% Teddy. No, but Teddy just kind of comes in. He's got the denim jacket. He's like, yeah, what's up, guys? I don't know. He keeps doing it. He rubs his eye a lot. Maybe it's like an acting tick. I don't know what it is, but he does it a lot. And then he's like smoking in one of the scenes, and he actually brings up this box. And this is like I think this is my favorite backstory of anybody that brought something to the seance. And it's this music box. And he tells a story about how his brother used to terrorize him with this box. And he's like, oh, I'm going to present it to you. And he like takes a hit of his smoke or whatever he's got.
Freaking vapor, man. Like,
it's a vape, right? Yeah. And then he like smokes over the box as he opens it. And it's a music box. It's got that little ballerina in it. He says that his brother used to terrorize him and place it in the house. And he would literally, as a child, just cry. It freaked him out so much. So then here he is like, ugh, it gives me creeps. To me, I was like, that's not scary. But everyone else reacts like, oh, yeah, that is really creepy. This is a foreshadow though later on, and I guess we can get there later, but there's a couple of these little things. Even Caroline's like, when she first comes up, she's like got a face mask on, but it's only like part of her face, you know what I mean?
T-zone.
T-zone, yeah. My
T-zone.
pores are, you know, the pandemic's been so bad to my pores. There's just little things that are going to come back later that you don't think anything about. So I love the thought that went into, I know where this is going to go. Let's put little tiny things in there that you'll get out of it later. And there's a lot of those. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, like, yes, we've talked about it, right? They're going to do a seance. They are they have a medium that's going to come in and do a seance, lead them through a seance, right? Which, like, depending on who you talk to, it's either it's either bullshit or it's not. The fact that you can do it via Zoom or whatever. I really haven't talked to a lot of mediums. I myself am a large, so I really haven't. What? Hold on. I'm getting there. Remember how? Okay, so we've established that like I am kind of a Teddy of the group, right?
Figure, yeah.
A little bit, but I am so much a Haley, dude. Haley trying to wrangle these like herding cats to get them all on board, and Haley's the one like, hey, this is a person that I know, the medium. I know this person, right? Mm-hmm. Don't embarrass me. Be a friend. Yeah. And if you want to do this, let's do it. And the fact that like, you know, so if you're watching a movie, you see that, you're like, okay, so I know someone, if someone says that, it's because someone's going to shit all over their plans, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So you know it's coming. And I'm like, oh, just freaking pay attention. You know, I just hate it. Plus, also, Host would probably go down as one of the more Slashers Paradise movies of all time, because if you all have seen the movie, old Teddy boy decides to have an impromptu drinking game started with the seance, right. Which is like what we do here. Which right off the bat, I'm like, fuck you guys. Don't do this shit. Okay. Don't make fun. Don't. I really hate it because the medium comes in, Lance, and she's sweet and she's Irish and she's like older. And it's like, why you think people sign? You're already in a profession, right? You're already in a thing that people already think is bullshit to begin with. So like, why would you all purposefully shit on this person? I don't like that, right? Don't be mean to people. And the fact that they're like right off the bat, like between Gemma and Teddy making the drinking game. I know it's all good fun, but like Gemma's a piece of shit. So I'm just gonna say that.
Caroline's very into the drinking game as well, by the way. She's and Emma's very like. It's funny because they always go off to the side, and Salen, who is the medium, is totally clueless to everything that's going on, which makes it more sad. You know what I mean? Like, to Danny's point,
man, it is sad.
Yeah, it is very sad when people are not taking it seriously, and that leads to Man, I just feel very silly. But at least so Gemma is all of a sudden feeling something, right? I think Haley hears like a knocking, right? So we've set up the seance is happening now. We're all a part of this. Salen is taking it very seriously. Haley is taking it very seriously. Nobody else is. Light the candle. This is a very broad strokes seance. I mean, I'm not going to tell you I've done too many seances or anything like that, but it is a very
about to
broad
ask
strokes.
You ever done any? You ever been a part of one? You don't have to. You don't have to divulge. How about this? How about this? How about this? How about this? Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah. But here's the point. I think you and I can agree with this. Is that it's not to be taken lightly.
Right.
I have done not a seance, but definitely a Ouija board experience that was very connected. I'll put it that way, huh?
Yeah.
And like it can connect you. I am a firm believer in energy and the other side and stuff like that. So the fact that all joking aside, all the shit that I was doing, in the beginning, and if you've seen the promo, right? All kidding aside, I absolutely hate the idea of getting involved in something that is supposed to be taken seriously and is supposed to contact something of the other side that you don't have reign over. If you're asking somebody to come by your house and you're a dick to them in person, well, then that's one thing because that's a person, right? You can open the door to something awful and anybody blame but yourself. So when I was a part of that Ouija board experience, man, I felt it. I felt the energy. And I remember saying to myself, I feel the reality of this. I feel how intense it is. And I don't have the capacity to do these things regularly without being ultra mortified, terrified. So I wrote, I have it on my note there. I would never agree to this as a friend group. I would be shitting all the bricks. Okay. Is that okay to say?
That is totally fine to say. I would definitely be down for this, but I know that you would not. So I will not invite you. Okay.
Look, invite me all the time. Two things, okay? Because I need to be invited. But I think what was so scary to me is because when it starts, they're like, "Yeah, I got my candle. Yeah, I got my item." And then when it gets down to it, they turn off all the lights. And some of them, of course, it's the lockdown. They're just in there by themselves with just a candle. No thanks. I don't need you to not have. I don't have a buffer. It's just me against the spirit that I invited into my own house. No thanks.
How else would you do a seance? I don't understand. Of course you
with people in a room. Okay, but if the lights are off, at least we're holding hands. At least we're going through it together. If the shit goes down, okay, all right. If the shit goes down, I'm by myself.
See, you're leading me to a point I was going to make later on, but I did something that I never really do, and I went and actually read the reviews because I've seen a lot of hate for this film. Mostly on social media. Yeah. Hold on. Mostly on social media, which is like a totally different toxic review area. But I did kind of go to the IMDb ones. I'm like, what do people not like about the film? It's short, it's fast paced, it is actually scary in a lot of different ways. So what is it? And a lot of people were talking shit about nobody would take their laptop through the house and show them what was going on if there was scary stuff going on. I'm like, bull fucking shit. I would absolutely, if I had the capability, take my camera everywhere. If we did a seance and invited created a possible demon and this shit was terrorizing me, my camera is the only thing I have. So anyway, I went on a little tangent there, but that's fine. My defense of it.
But that's the point. That's what we need to do. We need to say truthfully in our convictions what we would do and why we would do it. And I personally, the moment Salen's here talking about all right, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and it's going to be, and then she just casually drops this epic bomb of a line. And in the event you could be possessed, and oh, sorry, record scratch. Can we just take a pause? Run that one by me again.
Everyone did. Everyone possessed. Well,
yeah,
it's not what you think. It's just an opening, and it doesn't really
no,
mean like it's
horse shit. Horse shit, man.
Yo,
when she said, yeah, when she said you could be possessed, this is me with my mouse and end.
And hang up call on no thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's why, and that's another thing. It was a very broad strokes kind of a thing. She very just like, yeah, you might be possessed. No big deal. What? At least they acknowledge that idea. But we kind of start to get into it. And Saylin's not probably the greatest medium. She's like got a delivery. And when she asked for a knock, there's literally a knock at her door. She's like, oh shit, my delivery. Like, you're the worst ever. You're the worst. Honestly, you're the absolute worst. But anyway, Haley starts to hear something. And then Gemma goes off on her tangent. And this is why I believe Danny absolutely hates Gemma. She is the catalyst, basically. She's the one that gets this movie rolling and kind of sets up the demonic spirit or whatever is coming into the seance. Danny, do you want to go off on this or do you want me to keep going?
Gemma is an absolute, and I'm saying it straight to the camera right now. Gemma is an absolute asshole. I'm going to say right now, for the sake of everything, if you go through that extensive show that Gemma put on in front of the medium, I don't think that you are attached to reality. And I know what that sounds like. I do know what that sounds like, given the fact that it's a seance and they're trying to connect to spirits from another world. I understand what I mean. You are not attached to reality, because how tone deaf can you be to do that to not only, okay, fine, you don't give a shit about the medium. You did that to your friends on purpose, and especially Haley. That's your friend that you apparently live close to, and you did that to her to piss her off? Like, was it worth it? Obviously, it wasn't worth it, by the way. Spoiler, it's not worth it at all.
No, definitely not. Well, I mean, she does such a great job acting. Great job acting. Everyone's on the hook. You can see tears in her friends' eyes because they literally believe the story that she's creating about this little boy named Jack who helped her, or like they had a sentimental moment together when they were kids, and then he like cracked his head open and died.
Jack and Jill ran up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you you're
at this point during her story, Saylin loses connection. Of course
she does.
It
reminds me of Jaws 2, where they're about to be rescued and the helicopter pilot's like, I got you, just tie this to your boat and we'll get you out of here. So one person that we need. Then he gets eaten by the shark and you're like, we need you, girl. Where the fuck did you go? And your freaking internet cuts out. Great.
Yeah, is this the part, like, I'm trying to remember, Saylin, like, you see like something dart in and out of her, and that's why she goes off. You actually see something I think falls over. Right, and then her connection's gone, but Gemma's still going off on her tangent. And now Emma, Caroline, Haley, Gemma, and Radina are all on their own, because don't forget, Teddy lost connection. His girlfriend was kind of messing around with him, and they just cut the connection or whatever. So he's gone as of right now, but he will come back.
Here's the thing. When Gemma does let everyone know, hey, here's the reality, I'm a bitch, right? And I tricked you or whatever. Haley's pissed, and rightfully so. And then Gemma is doubling down and being like, I sense that there's some tension. And Haley's like ignoring her because she's trying to get back to Salen, or they're all just kind of taking a minute because Salen's gone. And she keeps on being like, Haley, are you mad at me? Whatever the hell she says. And Haley pops. She's like, fuck off, Gemma. Right. And I'm like, yes, tell her. But everyone's kind of like, oh, shit. And then they get it. They get into it. Right. High volume, high tension. Haley gets pulled in her chair. Haley gets pulled in her chair. And here's one of the actual problems I have with the movie. When she gets pulled in her chair, everyone just kind of goes, oh, hold on. Not just that. Not just that. Haley herself is like, oh, what? What happened? If you pull me in my chair, first of all, very strong ghost, because that's a big boy. Second of all, I would have a way bigger reaction. Again, that is end, and I'm out the door. Shut down, be damned. Fuck it, I'm out here.
There's something about this that I feel like the first time I watched it, because of the beginning, she's going through the apartment and she's setting. I'm like, maybe this has been happening to her. Maybe this is why she wanted to do the seance. I don't understand why there is not much of a reaction. Even when she kind of gets out of the chair, she's like, what the fuck was that? But it's almost like
the chair upside down. It's like, look, no strings or whatever, right?
Yeah, but it's almost like she's been through it before. It's like, see, this is what I've been talking about. But we haven't had any of that backstory or any of that kind of stuff. So everyone's just kind of looking like, oh, that was a little odd. Fuck that, dude. I would be out of there.
That's a great point to bring up, Lance. I think there's more to that, because why have the seance? Why is it like, is it just something we could do to pass the time? And there are other things you could do. You could do like a group checkers or some shit, right? Yeah. But like, there's got to be something to it. She may be like, this is the type of shit I'm talking about, because even when she starts the movie and she hears something, she turns the camera so that you can see, as if it's to her to say, check this out. This has happened to me before. There might be something to that. I think that's I mean, director's cut.
Yeah, maybe like, or the prequel or whatever. Like there's a vibe to her. And that's what kind of makes me think that there's more to her story and the reason that this whole movie is happening. But then from the chair pull and them kind of underreacting, all of a sudden everything starts popping off. Like there's sounds in her apartment. She's like, wait, do you guys hear that? And then you actually see it's cool. They use the Zoom thing. Like, okay, I'm going to put my volume all the way up so now you can hear it. Now she's going to take her laptop. I hear something, and then she's going down the hallway and checking out her apartment. And this is the tension. It's starting right now. It's starting to pop off. We've done a good enough job of establishing these characters in such a quick time, but now we get that found footage thing that it terrifies me the most of anything. It's like video games. We've kind of talked about this before. It's like horror video games terrify me more than horror movies ever will, and even real experiences do. We go like haunted mazes and stuff. I'm like, cool, like very good job, golf clap. But when we play video games, we get that POV. That's the most terrifying thing ever. That's real life to me, and I can't deal with that. So that tension of Haley going through the apartment and going through each door. Danny, how do you feel about it? Danny's making faces at me.
Well, here's what I'll say. Fuck horror movie video games. They scare the shit out of me. Not really. Like I love them. I love that they exist, and I tried to play Friday the 13th multiple times, but I got too much anxiety because and anxiety, as if you're one of the campers, whatever, fine. You're probably gonna die. No, the pressure when you're Jason. The pressure.
Yeah.
I'm like, this poor dude, man. He must have gone through so much, right? To I gotta kill people. And it's like, and I better get to them. Anyway, tangent. Anyway, what I do want to say, I don't know about you, man, but watching this movie multiple times, I was like, is one of their hair gonna catch on fire? Oh, because they all have these candles on because of the seance. And multiple times they're like leaned into the camera, and I'm like, someone's hair is gonna catch fire. I think it's obviously depth perception because nobody's ever does. But I was like,
Well, Teddy's,
yeah, but
Teddy's
like
kinda-
I thought it was gonna be like an accident thing where like
Yeah,
someone smiling and then gets like
yeah. Gotcha.
I will say, dude, holy moly, like so many beautifully done gags in this
Mhm.
film, like from Caroline, who I need to just say, Caroline acting her bleeping ass off, man. Caroline is going for all of it. Not to say that nobody else does, but like Caroline is giving it all to me. I think Caroline, and then eventually when Gemma decides to, turn it on, she does turn it on. But Caroline from the beginning, man, I felt like the worst for her. Because I don't know,
Yeah.
she felt like a little bit more. She's living with her dad, and her dad was sweet. I kind of felt for like all of them in a weird way, but Caroline kind of like broke my heart because in the beginning she's saying that she doesn't want to be involved, like she's scared of it, right?
Yeah. Just kind of like Haley has this like serious kind of emotional tone. Caroline kind of always has this emotional, like, I don't want to be a part of this. I am scared of this. So you kind of buy into her right away. You buy into that part of her. But then she even starts playing with her zoom and kind of shows off an effect, which is cool later on. But she puts the background up, but it's like pre-recorded background. So she's walking around, and then it's like you can still see her face and she's still talking to you, but you can see from earlier she was walking around her bedroom. And then but you're right, she does a great job acting. And she just brings this emotional tone from the very beginning. There's something to draw to her. It's like Radina, I'm kind of like, oh, she's like the edgy cool one, and kind of doesn't give a shit. Emma's kind of funky and fun, I guess. Everyone's got their own personality. Gemma's kind of the asshole, but Haley's
for sure.
yeah. But Caroline goes through, this is kind of what I guess people are, the only complaint I've seen, the only consistent complaint I've seen is she hears something in the attic. I don't know if you notice this either on not everyone's cam, but there's a lot of focus on the attic, on everyone's attic throughout. And that's because actually the creator that's kind of where everything came from in his horror short that he pranked everybody with, was everything was in the attic. He took the camera up there and pranked everybody with that. So I think that's kind of where all this comes from.
She does go into the attic, and one of like the like have you ever been in a theater when it's a thing that doesn't jump, there's not a big like audio like pop or anything like that, it's just something that you see happen, and it's creepy and it's not supposed to be there. It's kind of like in Haunting of Hill House when you would see all the ghosts. It's something like that. And like obviously folks, you gotta watch this movie, and it's just one of those things that it reminded me of when I was in the theater and something like that happened. The whole theater would go.
Yeah, it's like that little baby scream that you're trying to hold back because it's not like scary, but there is something there in the attic that definitely gets her. Well, she doesn't even see it. But you know what? You kind of mentioned this earlier. It's one of those things where she's got like a laptop in front of her. She's like, okay, I guess I'll go up into the attic. She's like, fuck that. Goes downstairs. I think it's her phone that she's actually on.
She's been on her phone, yeah. And she gets what is it?
A selfie stick or whatever. You know, I was like, fuck that. Y'all can see it. I don't want to see it. Just kind of sticks it up there in the attic. And we see a little something. It's just everything starts popping off like left and right and left and right. And then there's
things started to happen. And when I love saying this about movies because I think I said it in Malignant. I said it in Malignant. When it starts. Yeah. So it takes a minute because Malignant's a little bit longer of a feature. This is a quick feature. I love it because it gets to it. No fuss, no mas. Just let me get to the thrills, bills, and chills, which is why I commend this movie so well, because not only is it shot during the shutdown, not only is it shot with like webcams essentially, but it gets to it with introducing all these characters that you pretty much, like you said, have a nice grasp of, right? So when the shit jumps off, boy, does it. And they try to get Salen on the phone. They call her up. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. Very nonchalant. I'm sorry, my internet cut out. How's it going? What's up with you all? But me, right? Me, an idealist scholar. Me, I'm over here like, no. Salen's actually an amazing medium. And she knew that Gemma was fucking pissing her off and doing something stupid. So she cut them off and was like, you made your bed. Now you're going to lie in it. Right.
Yeah.
But it's true. Salen does say, because she's being sweet. She's like, Gemma, could it be Jack? Because they're saying, hey, a lot of stuff is happening to us at this moment. We need your help. Right. And she's like, oh, could it be Jack? And then it's like, you know what? It's not Jack, because they're like, no. Gemma says, actually, sorry, I made it up. I was being a jackass. And she's like, that's not good at all. And I don't know if we've already alluded to it or talked about it, but yes, Salen says in poking fun or acting out in the way that you did, you've essentially invited or created a spirit that is demonic.
Yeah.
So what Salen's advice was when they started the whole thing, she's like, imagine that there's a rope around you, right? Imagine a rope is around your waist and it's attached to the door. You have to visualize it. When you are done, you need to visualize that it's there and you need to cut the rope, right? Imagine it's attached to your door. Multiple times during when all the shit's going down, I am screaming, cut the rope! Cut the rope!
Please
cut the rope! Cut the fucking rope.
To me, that's a really interesting concept that you created Jack the demon, I guess we can call him. I mean, it's just kind of referred to as the demon in this, but the fact that you created it because you were fuck around and find out. That's exactly what's happening here. Is Gemma has now opened the door, created this thing, pissed off some spirit that is now attached and become Jack the demon.
Fuck around and find out was a movie.
Host is the one.
Host it is. Honestly, back to really all the gags that have been set up. Like, that's what's so good about this movie. You set up these like things early on. You're like, I wonder if that's going to come back. And it does. Guess what? They do come back. And they're good when they come back. So what do we establish? Regina put her mic on mute, right? So that she could talk to her boyfriend. So that comes back. Gemma's an asshole. Sure. Caroline has that moving background, right? That comes back.
Yeah.
Emma has those face filters.
Oh my God.
Lance, I swear to everything that I believe in, this is going to go down for me as one of the most amazing horror movie gags I have ever seen. Holy shit, it was done so well. A face filter. We all know face filters, right?
Yeah.
You got the cherub or whatever the hell may be, right? So, Emma's kind of, I'm not trying to be this person, but like Emma, no coincidence, does remind me of Baby Spice, which I believe her real name is Emma. And she's English. So anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is that she puts on these face filters and it's like a little lizard and things like that. Okay. Emma, after they think they're in the clear, has turned on her face filter thing again, and she hears something in the house. So you see the perspective from the camera looking out. There is a face floating in the middle of the living room. And it's like, I could only describe it as Alice, Sweet Alice. That's what it reminds me of. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but it's like, it's like, I don't know if you've seen those masks, folks. It's like it's a clear mask, but it's got like a little bit of like blush on the cheeks and like, lipstick and like the eyebrows are kind of painted in. Yeah. So it's just there and it's just floating in the living room. Yeah. And it's looking one way, and it is absolutely terrifying. And everyone's like, Emma, turn it off. Emma, turn it off. It's like, right. And then she's like, oh my God. She reaches out to it, and she reaches out, and she's putting her hand closer, and all it does is shift, and it just looks right at her, and
Yeah.
she loses it. I lost it too. Holy mother of God. Yo, Lance, I'm going to write that down. One of the best and most effective horror movie gags of all time.
Yeah, but and it also leads into a bunch more. But yeah, it actually was so effective that it did kind of like give you the jump. It's not only a pop scare, it's like, again, that tension, because like those face filters sometimes will kind of catch anything, but then when it moves, it turns at you just enough, and you're like, oh, that thing is fucking looking at me. And I love that she runs to the kitchen, and oh god, like it just popped up on my screen right now.
No, yes,
it's terrifying.
yes, Lance. But what you were about to talk about, yes,
Yeah.
because I want you to talk about it, but I do want to say that I absolutely love what she does because it makes the audience feel smart. The audience is in on it. They're like, hey, guess what? I'm not going to do this whole thing where, run, you know, like horror movie tropes. This is a possession little tidbit. Lance, talk about it. What does she do?
So the face goes away, like she pops away, like what the hell was that? The face goes away, so she goes into the kitchen and she grabs like baking powder or whatever, baking soda or whatever, and starts dashing it all over where the face was, onto the floor. Okay, and that's like a very common ghost trick, right? Like, I don't know, maybe you'll see something coming out of it, maybe you'll see footprints, all of a sudden the kitchen blows up, the cabinets blow up, and it's like terrifying. Oh god, what is that? She looks back, she goes back to the powder that's on the floor, and fucking footsteps are coming towards her. There's nothing else there, just the footsteps. She is terrified. She runs into the hallway, all the lights go off, and we're just in the hallway looking at the destruction of the kitchen, this thing that had been chasing her. Where is it? We wait. Turn on the hallway lights. Oh, God. Go back into the kitchen. Danny, this is killing me. This is like the best tension.
You're building it. You're building because you think you're like, oh, it's probably just going to scare her. She's going to run away. Well, actually, yeah, it does scare her, and she does run away, doesn't she, Lance?
Yeah, she sure does, because the footsteps start coming down the hallway at her. And that's terrifying. Oh God, it's still coming after me. So she starts running, and the next thing we know, we see all the camera movements and stuff, and then her feet start floating in the air in the hallway. And then she drops, and we think, oh shit, was that her death? Like, is she done? No, she's still up, gets the laptop, keeps running. I think she like goes into a dark corner or something like that. She kind of like hides away. She's like, oh, she puts the blanket over her head basically for the rest of her time in this movie. And then the filters are still on. So the lizard's out there. She's actually terrified. She can't even turn the damn lizard filter off, which kind of brings some comedy to it,
She was absolutely killing me too, because I'm watching it and I'm like, oh my God, she's so terrified and screwed up, and then the filter keeps popping on her face. I'm like, that sucks. And like the kick them while they're down sort of moment, right? Oh my gosh. But here's the thing, right? She's gone through it, and there's something I thought I was going to get to. I think I wanted to get to this a lot later, but I do want to talk about we were introduced to Caroline's living background.
Oh, right.
So they haven't seen Caroline herself in a while. They've just seen the living background over and over again, which is just her walking from, I guess, the hallway to her dresser, and she walks back just over and over again. And they haven't seen her. But if you've ever had a virtual background, you know that if you get, close enough or far enough or whatever the case may be, if you pop out, you will then, come out of the virtual background essentially, right? Yeah. So God knows what's been happening to this poor girl this whole time. But when you see her again, she is being absolutely thrashed in her bedroom and just over and over and over on the computer against the camera. She's bloody. Her pores are not doing great at all this time, right? She's just having the most horrible time. She's being killed. She's being killed by this entity, right, that they've created. And she has a moment of respite, just a tiny moment where she's just like dripping with blood. And all of them are like, are you effing kidding me? Okay, death. She's gone. Yeah. But the camera stays on. And I have to say, Lance, it absolutely breaks my heart. Truthfully breaks my heart because of Caroline. Because Caroline the entire time was sweet. She did not want to do it at all. She was scared. And then when it came down, sorry, I heard something and I freaked out. When it came down to it, she, you know, all her worst fears came true. But what's so eerie is that you're just left with an echo of her life, which is just an image of her going. And like you see that and you're like, I wish that was real. And I started to think, isn't that just a like kind of a real sort of depiction of what death is when someone's gone like that, and then you just see the image, you can't do anything. And you're like, oh, if we could just go back to that time right there where you were just walking back and forth, it just breaks my heart. And Caroline, oh my gosh, but she just gets like totally destroyed. But then they all start dropping like flies.
Yeah. Redina's already gone at that point. Redina's, I think it's right after Emma's whole spiel of her like getting dropped and going under the blankets. Redina's boyfriend like drops out of the sky. Is it Redina? Yeah, it's Redina. Yeah, it's Redina. Drops out of the attic out of nowhere, and it's like slam, bang, and then Redina kind of goes through. It gets kind of dragged around. There's a bunch of stuff going on with Redina's. I was so focused on her cam like throughout because there's like a green dot like in the background kind of swaying around, and then they kind of even mention like, no, it's not the light, there's something in between you, and you know, all this kind of stuff. So like I was so focused on her a lot, but she's gone now. Emma's still alive, but she's under the covers. She's like kind of one of the last ones. Haley gets dragged away. She gets dragged into the hallway. She's gone. That was like our main girl, and Gemma's like freaking out, right?
Yeah, Gemma's like, I've had enough of this, puts on her mask, and she takes off, which is also a sign of the times because she puts her face mask on. Everyone's like, no, Emma, don't go out. Because of the lockdown. I'm like, who gives a shit? At this point, we're dying.
Yeah.
Go.
Right. So she's headed over to
Haley. Yeah.
She's headed over to Haley's house. Like now it's like her redemption moment, I guess. So it kind of just leaves Emma on screen, and then here comes good old Teddy Bear.
Just
he comes up,
stupid little like
his fucking puppet, clown puppet, like has no idea what's been going on, just rejoins the chat like nothing's happened. Like, oh, sorry, just been gone for fucking 40 minutes, you know what I mean? And then it's Emma, what's going on, you know? And then this is where all the demon shit happens. This is like the most terrifying part of the movie. Teddy gets the worst. And this is like what we kind of talked about. Like everything was kind of pre-recorded, and then like, but this is the fact actually. His was pre-recorded, and then it was played for everybody live, and their reactions were all real. Which I think all we really get is Emma at this point. That's all that's left on the Zoom. Yeah. But everybody was allowed to watch it live, you know. So his is just, oh, dude, it makes me like uncomfortable. Actually, this is the most terrifying part of the movie to me.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Well, okay, look, I agree that it is terrifying. But are you talking about him, or are you talking about the girl that he's with?
But both. I mean, Teddy's whole experience, the whole filmed part of Teddy is
okay. Yeah. It is extra, right? But dude, man, some very good, well thought out. Again, very impressive. The parameters of what's going on. Like, I feel like I'm limited because I'm just here, right? But they had some really good deaths in this movie. And yes, the hanging of the girl that he's with, that Teddy's doing the lockdown with over the pool.
Yeah.
Ay, Diosito de mi vida. That was so terrifying, man, for me. And then, yes, Teddy goes through it like a lot.
Yeah. I mean, this is where we actually, this is where we see the demon's face for the first time, 2 times. There's a pop scare on the stairs when he's going through the house. Yeah, there's the demon. It makes this like terrifying screeching sound, but it's kind of like, it's loud and light at the same time. It's really bizarre and terrifying. And you just see these like quick images of the demon. And then he's like trying to find his girlfriend, finds the girlfriend, and the girlfriend gets like sucked out of the air, like right in front of him, sucked out, taken above the pool. And then you see the neck crack as if she's been hung, and then drops into the pool. It's a really cool effect.
Yes.
100%. Like the coolest effect of this film was, and probably all the budget was actually on that part.
Yeah,
right
like
there.
So amazingly done. And like, I can't even wrap my head around how to do something like that, because I guess I still don't know all the movie tricks. But whoa. And then, he's walking through all of the outside, the inside of the house, and what does he find? The fucking creepy ass music box that has just been playing,
but so lightly. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you can barely hear it, and then he starts approaching it. And again, this is the foreshadowing we were talking about. He talked about this as a child. His brother terrified him with this music box. He was crying as a child because the music box would just be left on the floor. His brother terrorized him with it. So he just watched his girlfriend die. He's seen this demon just pop into his face 2 or 3 times. He's hearing crazy things. Now he's coming up to the one thing that terrified him his entire life. And he's got like a Zippo lighter as he's trying to light his way to it. And the music gets louder and louder and louder. Dude, that is nope. A whole lot of nope. That is so terrifying. Okay, so this is my second experience with the movie. I was watching it last night. I actually was watching it in bed, and my wife was like, "Oh God, what are you watching?" I was like, "You like this movie," but she was not paying attention, so she's over there playing solitaire. This is the part of the movie I'm gonna inch a little closer and just start looking at the side of the screen, and yeah, dude. And then all of a sudden we start hearing banging on our, like, around me, like my my condo starts like I was like, no, fuck, Jack's here right now. Yeah, dude. I was actually terrified going to bed and watching this last night.
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, I mean, you really put yourself in it, I mean, because that's what's good sometimes about these horror movies. You got to really just kind of like go for it. Put yourself in the setting, right? Yeah. Turn the lights off, let it be dark, let it be nighttime or whatever. But it's like I think we could identify with and talk about specific moments in this movie where it was like, oh, that, because then I start thinking of the way Emma died too. And then I start thinking about, what ends up happening to, Regina as well, and then Teddy, yeah, like all of it. But I'm just gonna say, and it's okay for me to think this, but stupid ass Gemma finds herself getting to Haley's house, right? And Haley's camera's still on, which it's funny because they all have their names under it, like we do right now, right? And then, but Gemma is on Haley's camera, but you're not Haley, right? Sort of thing. Is, I don't know, it's stupid. But anyway, she's just in the kitchen and she's just like looking around and she's got her mask on and she gets absolutely swamped by a wine bottle. And in real time, I'm like this, watching it. My arms are crossed. I'm just staring at it. And then she gets hit and it is such a satisfying sound because it is all you. And also, let me just say, at one point in the movie, Gemma's dumbass is like, "It's all your fault, Haley." And we're like, no, it's your fault, you stupid ass. And she gets swamped with this wine bottle. And I go, good, harder.
I actually verbally laughed. And remember, this is right after like the most terrifying scenes of the movie. And I just like, ha! It's
Yes,
just like,
because she gets hit and
it's just
and
like
just
the straight line that this thing just takes at her face. And she's just out. I think it's some of the acting that she kind of does too, is like she kind of walks into the apartment and then goes up to Haley's laptop and just like stares at it and is looking at everybody's camera. It's just like such a fake, like it's like a very theme park look to it. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? Like, I don't know what's going on. And then she's just kind of strangely walking around Haley's apartment and then thunk. She deserved it. It was great.
Yeah, she did. I mean, look, the movie ultimately is already at its end at this point, right? She's not dead yet. She's just out. She reaches for the camera for like a false like scare. It's her. She pulls it down so that you can see that she's writhing in pain. She's like, ooh, it hurt. Right. And then the kitchen decides to explode again. So she's like, let me get out of here. So then she now is taking Haley's laptop and doing the things that Haley was doing, which is going down the creepy hallway, opening the door. And earlier we had seen that the door fell open and like an ironing board had fell through. So it's like, oh shit. So she opens the door and you're like, is the demon gonna be in there? And it's the ironing board again. You're like, shit, the ironing board. So then she keeps going down and then she opens a door and she's looking in, which is presumed Haley's bedroom, and Haley's there. Scares the shit out of us, but is there. And then, oh my God, I am like, and they are both terrified. They've seen all their friends die, mostly, and they, in that moment, I laughed so hard. In that moment, they're like, you just see Haley is crying and stuff, and then reaches out with her elbow to elbow greet Gemma because of the shutdown and the pandemic. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Who gives a shit? If you get COVID, that is the least of your concerns. There's a demon that wants to kill you. It's just like, just a nice little just cherry on top of the sundae from the director. Just like, he's like, let me just add this little bit of, sign of the times. Is like a, hey, just so you all know, it's like this, we're still doing that. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It made me laugh. I burst out laughing when I saw that part, because it's like, we're supposed to be terrified and you're then elbow greeting me.
Well, and like we just said, I was laughing at Gemma getting the bottle to the head. So now I've been the most terrified, and now I've laughed 2 times within 5 minutes. Like, this is such a roller coaster fun ride at this point. I'm like, this is great. I love this. You know what I mean? Like, and that moment made me laugh so hard too. Like, it's such an 80s moment. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that you could laugh at the most terrifying part of the movie is so great to me. And it just like feels like an homage to 80s flicks. You know what I mean? Where,
it kind of reminded me, weirdly, it's not technically 80s, but it's like I forget, late 70s, The Last House on the Left, after the the scene in the woods, and then he's kind of just picking the leaves off of his hand. He's got blood all over his hand. He just like killed this girl in the most heinous way. It's kind of reminding me of that. It's like, are you kidding with the leaves? Who gives a shit? You just did one of the most horrendous things in the world. You're worried about leaves on your hands. So it's like your friends are dying. You're being chased by a demon, and you just got hit hard with a full bottle of wine, and you're like, who gives a shit? But let me just say, man, if I could paint, I always like to do one of these. If I could paint a picture really quick of just like hope being lost, and just like, it's so weird how it was presented and how it made me feel. I'll put it this way. Zoom has tiers, at least paid and unpaid tiers, right? Yeah. And at one point towards, I guess if you want to say this movie had 3rd acts, it was, at the beginning of the 3rd act. And it's saying your free Zoom call will expire in X minutes. So it's not, it starts a countdown at one point, and you're just looking at that thing countdown in the side of the frame of the screen. And it's just like, Are they going to do the thing where at the 1 second something's going to happen, like at the very last
Yeah.
second, or is he going to do a thing where like at the 2 seconds it happens because you're thinking it's going to happen at 1 second, whatever it is, but it's that aspect that like it's counting down and that's going to be the end of the movie, and I'm like, oh balls, that's balls, because it's like you're telling the audience, yeah, it's coming, and I'm going to take you on this journey, and you're going to know where you're at in it, right? One, but two. Oh my God, dude. When everybody's cameras just start shutting off. And it's a small thing, Lance. It's a very small thing. But right when their camera shuts off, the last thing you see is their profile picture.
Yeah.
And it's them in like the best light, right? Some folks, they're right to do they like the faces or whatever, and it's just like that's not how they look now. That's not how they look now. But like that was a time where they did look okay, but that's not them. It just like it was so like depressing, right? It's like it's just
everything you talked about with Caroline.
Yeah,
it's the echo. It's the image of a better time. And how happy these people were until Gemma, the villain, the real villain of this movie.
There's a meme that needs to be made. It's like the movie villain, and it's a picture of the demon or whatever. Me, an intellectual, knowing the actual villain, and it's a picture of Gemma. Yes. The remaining the meeting time countdown was just beautiful, man. Just definitely a movie of the times. And the last thing I have, honestly, is just super, super creative. Like I cannot gush about how creative this movie is enough. I just can't. I applaud it so much for all the things that it did. It just it's going to go down as one of those period pieces in the sense of like, this is the time. Again, I've said it a million times. It's a sign of the times. It's a movie of the times. But with even besides that, I do think it stands on its own 2 feet as being a legitimate scary horror movie. And I will say, and you said it already, I don't like found footage stuff because it makes me sick. Only once in the 2 times that I've watched this did I have to go, because I was holding my breath because I was getting scared, right? And I think that's what couples it, because like found footage movies are horror movies. You don't really have like a romantic comedy as a found footage movie. You know what I mean? So you are getting scared. So your breath is kind of being labored at the time. So I think that's why I get dizzy, because that's what happens. You're holding your breath and you're not letting oxygen go to your head. So
I see.
Ultimately love it. Can't gush about it enough.
That's awesome. I kind of piggyback on the same thing. I thought the exact same thing of the creativity of this. Also just being like, we don't need to stretch this out another 20 minutes to make it a normal feature length film of an hour and 20 minutes. This is 56 minutes. And I'm telling you, the first 14 minutes are just introducing the characters. And I think some people might get a little annoyed with that, but it's just like, you need to know who these people are. The fact that they can establish that in 15 minutes is phenomenal. The next 10 minutes is getting things kicked off. And then the last 30 minutes is just a joyride of horror and a little bit of comedy in there, like natural comedy, not like comedy. But yeah, the creativity to use Zoom in that way, in that realistic way, was just really incredible and just intelligent. And I really enjoyed that. And I look forward to it. Like, I want to watch it again eventually, but it's just terrifying. So I might wait a while. All right, Danny, how many seance candles do you give Host?
I will give Host a very strong 4.5 seance candles.
Wow. All right. I like it. I don't like to do the halves, but I will give it a 4, which, as you should know by now, that is a very strong film from us at Slash's Paradise. Danny, you got anything else?
I just really want everyone out there to know that if you have made it this far in our podcast and you still haven't watched the movie, well, you really have been spoiled to all hell. But please do yourself a favor, watch this movie and do it like Lance did. Make it, the nighttime and turn off all the lights. Really get yourself in that experience and let yourself enjoy what is a very fun and scary horror movie.
Awesome. All right. Until next time, that's Danny. I'm Lance, reminding you to
lock your doors,
bolt your windows.
And Haley, honestly, if I die, I'm going to haunt you myself.
And join us next time in our Slasher's Paradise.
Cut the rope!
Hey, did you see anything you like?
Thanks for watching Slasher's Paradise tonight. Please hit the like and subscribe button and turn on all of your notifications so you know the next time we post a video or go live.
And if you'd like an audio-only version of the show, search for us on wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, you name it. We're on all the platforms. We just ask that you leave a rate and review of 5 stars. And if you don't know what to write in the review section, put a recommendation of a horror movie you would love for Lance and I to talk about.
Yes, and if you'd like to get the full experience of Slasher's Paradise, including videos and audio all together, go to deadcandy.com, that's DEDCANDY, or go to youtube.com/deadcandy. Here's to you guys.
This is Slasher's Paradise! Sorry, I had to work that in.
And I'm going to drink on that.
Blended Canadian.